Right. Hey there, and welcome back to Issues in Education, ISTE 19 here from Philadelphia. We have Dan Ryder with us. Dan does some amazing work with students in the state of Maine and throughout the country. Dan, welcome to Issues in Education.
Thank you, sir.
Sounds good. It's so good to have you.
Hey, I'm just excited to hang out with you for
just as a little
15,
tiny bit.
minutes,
That's all we
right?
get, so it's good. Yeah. So tell me what you are doing these days. You have an official title other than like Mastermind of All Learning or something?
Yes, Mastermind of All Learning is the unofficial title.
Right.
So my official title is Director of the Success and Innovation Center at Mount Blue campus.
Okay. And where will we find Mount Blue?
So Mount Blue is up in the western foothills of Maine.
Okay.
We're a regional school, rural public high school.
Yep.
With about 700 kids.
Yep.
We serve about 10 communities.
Cool.
So there are kids in our school who come every day to school and spend more time with more people at the school than they do in their own town.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool. And kids come in as far as they ride in the bus for as much as an hour, some of them, to get to school. But it's great. I've been there my entire career. I love it. I'm completely committed. I taught English there for 20 years.
Yeah.
And now we started this project.
Which is cool, because I think there are more and more jobs now that don't fit in roles, right? Like these traditional, like they need people that can kind of be the facilitator and the counselor and
And that's exactly what I am. It's like we call ourselves lovingly the grout of the school. So you have all these tiles, right? You have all these spaces around the school that do all these things. And then we just kind of slide in and help get kids from one tile to the next, or we figure out why things aren't working and try to help them find an alternative pathway to being successful.
Yeah, I was talking to a group of teachers the other day and just said, you have an option, right? You're either a person that is an energy vampire, or you're someone that contributes to the overall energy of the building.
Right.
I think the people flock to you because you're the guy that energizes space.
At least I try to.
Yeah, right. We don't always have those days.
Right, and there's always the truth about you can't be a prophet in your own backyard.
Yes.
Right, so there is a little bit of that too. So those are some of the growing pains of changing your role but really we're just trying to be helpful. I'm in there with a full-time ed tech, and so it's two of us that run the space in an old faculty lounge that we took over.
Cool.
And we just try to be as helpful as we can. People walk through the door and we just say, how might we be helpful?
Yeah.
No matter what the problem is.
Right. The world would be better. We all just started the day that way. How can I be helpful?
Right. And it's and like I'm not a professional counselor. Right. So I know I should not be giving kids grief advice. But what they don't know is who they can get that from. So I help them find, we call that the compass. Right. So sometimes it's like, all right, what already exists that you need to access?
Yeah.
Right? And then we have this thing called the canvas, which is, all right, it doesn't exist, so how do we build it for you?
Okay.
Or build it with you, I should say.
Yeah.
Right?
Because sometimes we build things that already exist and it wastes our time.
Oh,
like welcome to education.
That's never happened in education.
Right. Like how many committees exist in the United States where every other school has already done it?
Right.
Just go grab it and put your flavor on it.
Exactly.
And so if you can be that compass for those type of resources, how great is that?
Well, that's it. And so what we're trying to do is kind of take the best practices of human-centered design, right, and the best practices of restorative justice, restorative practices, and just combine them together in a way that maybe hasn't been done before. But it's building on things that pre-exist. We're not like, oh, the only way to talk to kids about a problem is our way. No. People have solved that problem.
Yeah.
We just haven't applied it. So.
Yeah, one of the things that's key to that is feedback, right? Because you need to be talking and solving with kids and not for them.
Exactly.
How do you stay out of that trap? Right? I want to know.
It's really hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard, but it really goes back to relationships.
Yeah.
Right? We try really hard to build a trusting relationship because trust is above and beyond the biggest thing missing from public education, really in all factors of our society right now. We have an incredibly difficult time trusting anyone or anything.
Yes.
Right? So what we try to do is build capacity for trust. Trust one another and trust that everything's going to work out. And if we work on that, that keeps. Then we trust ourselves to help the kid in the best way possible, and the kids are trusting us. And as soon as the kid feels trusted by the educator, it's amazing how much more resilient they become. And they have better ideas about how to help themselves because they feel vulnerable enough to share it and to say, so this is what I think might work. And they know you're not going to just immediately tell you, that's the worst idea I've ever heard in my life.
Right. Well, you kind of always a yes and philosophy, right?
Right.
That goes back to your improv work.
Exactly.
That goes to kind of being playful in ideas. how do you let kids know that you're available for that type of mental jogging, mental like playfulness, right?
Well,
how do you showcase that in your room so that kids know that, oh, this is a different type of place?
Well, it might start with the giant Black Panther from the movie theater that we stole.
Okay.
Like banner up,
Yeah.
the banner poster. So that might have something to do with it. It might be the action figures scattered throughout the space. Also, I just kind of wear myself on my sleeve. Like I don't put on any airs with kids. I've been in the same place for 20 years, so that helps, right? So I have a reputation, both good and bad. But it's, you know, I try to let my classroom and our space be an extension of myself. For better or worse. We're working on being more organized next year because we know there's kids who walk by and they see the hot mess.
And they don't want to come in.
They don't want to come in because
sure.
it's just too chaotic. It doesn't suit their brains, right? So I have to pull back on that sometimes. But it's really, in terms of play, I mean, our room is full of Legos and board games and card games and robotics, and everything is just out where you can kind of see what it's all about. And
so you've been playing around with Dungeons and Dragons.
So I'm like a super noob, but I'm loving it.
I know. So but make the connection, right? Like, how is that helping you be a better educator?
Well, one, we have a lot of kids on campus who play.
Okay.
A lot more than admit.
Okay.
And one of those things about like that vulnerability piece. Like stigma, you know, things have stigmas attached to them. Video game playing, role-playing game, playing, that kind of thing. Like kids need to see that it's okay for anybody to be into it, not into it. It kind of goes back to that classic episode of Freaks and Geeks, where they play, you know, the final episode there where they're playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Right.
But the other piece is like D&D is playful and it opens up to imagination. And even if kids don't play it, they understand what it is. And so does most of the staff. Like everyone, it's kind of one of those things where we just have like this like societal basic knowledge of it. And it gives you options and ways to talk. But I find with a lot of my kids, just be able to like make a joke about like different alignment. Like it lets you know, oh, I get you. And it's the same thing with video games. I may not play them all. Right. But to at least demonstrate my savviness. Right. With that, it lets me in. Just like I don't know my way around an engine at all.
No.
I need to know just enough.
Right.
So those folks, when they come through the door, trust me. And I'm not lying to them. I just said, like, I seriously know nothing.
Don't ask me the third question.
Right.
I can maybe answer the first one, but don't ask me the third question. I got no shot at that.
And you have to be authentic with them. Like they can smell lies.
Oh.
They pick up on it, and then they
I think that's it. Your authenticity breeds trust, and hopefully breeds this kind of like, hey, I can heal in your space. I can grow in your space.
Exactly.
I can be me in your space.
That's it.
Which is super cool.
That's what we try. That's what we're trying to do.
So about a year and a half ago, you wrote an awesome book with your co-author.
Well, thanks.
I
You wrote
really
an awesome
loved it.
book too. I know this isn't about
right.
your
No,
book,
but it's I think we both kind of fed off each other in that space. And so
totally did.
Tell our audience about it and how that's helped education.
Sure. So the book is called Intention, Critical Creativity in the Classroom. It was published by EdTech Team Press. We're EdTech Team Press co-collaborators in there. And it's all about using creative expression in the classroom to demonstrate deeper understanding and deeper learning.
Yeah, I think all teachers can do that work, but sometimes I think that it's not their default. And I think your book helps take teachers that aren't fully comfortable in that space on a journey that allows them to grow into that space.
Well, I'm glad you think that, because that's what we're trying to do.
Fair enough.
So, we win.
Yeah.
But that's really the idea, we think of creativity as the, well, if only I had time if.
Yeah.
And Amy and I, my co-author, Amy Burvall, and I, our argument is like it's the instead of, right? And they don't have to be these grandiose projects that take 6 weeks. You could, with the strategies that we highlight in the book, and we provide like lesson plans on how to do it. Like you can just replace some of the things that are kind of not necessarily working, but we're trapped in these cycles. Because we think, well, it's what kind of worked before. Well, why not try something that that is more likely to get some of those students whose ability to articulate in language isn't necessarily the best.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and it's everything from making stuff with Legos and color palettes to creating tapestries and fashion and architecture. There's a whole bunch of different stuff in it.
It is. It's fantastic. So, Dan, thank you for being
Hey,
here.
thank you.
And this has been another great episode of Issues in Education, ISTE 19. Hope everyone enjoyed Dan Ryder and all of the knowledge that he brought to the table. Thanks.